Agriculture is a unique industry. It involves not only the production of our food, but the processing and marketing of our end products. Today, as an entrepreneur farmer, it's extremely important to have a sound understanding of the food supply chain and the players involved in the food industry. However, and more importantly, farmers need to become stronger advocates of their production, whether it be grains and oilseeds or beef. For Neil to have a successful future in the beef sector, he will need to develop some soft skills such as communication, negotiation, and diplomacy to become an effective advocate. Successful leaders also must have good mentors through their lives to help their development. Sherry Copperthorne Barnes has been mentoring Neil for the past 3 years and discusses the process.
And this will be Neil's third year with us, and as he's been learning and watching the size and the scope of the operation that we have, it's given us the opportunity and given him the opportunity to realize the variability within agriculture. And hopefully this has given him the opportunity to see where he would like to focus his future on. For the next couple of years, it's going to be imperative that he really focuses in on those production attributes or those production areas that he has that passion to be able to put the time and effort in that it takes to really start up. I think he needs to focus on what type of management style he's looking for. Is he looking for a year-round operation? Is he looking for complete sustainability, or is he going to purchase inputs? Is he going to focus on cows? Is it going to be a blend? Those types of questions are really important as you're just starting out. And especially knowing that he is looking at new territory on top of that, it's important over the next short term that he's going to be able to go find people in that area that can really hone down on the specifics to the environment that he's going to be planning on working on. Agriculture, no matter where you're at, is never the same within the 2-mile radius of each other, let alone trying to go from one province to another. So it's going to be really important that he finds people that he can rely on there that have the expertise that he's going to need. It's important from a standpoint of what we can teach him here is how to set up the management models that he'll need from both an accounting perspective as well as production. And they're two very separate things because you need to be able to make management decisions on production that don't necessarily reside within your accounting books as well. So we got to make sure that he's prepared and understands the difference between the two. There's too many variables and sensitivities that don't allow flexibility in accounting systems that agriculture needs. When you look at the lifespan of a cow, for example, I mean, you've got death loss, you've got sales, you've got culling rates, you've got so many things that black and white accounting programs just don't like. And so you need to be able to teach young folks how to handle that type of variability as well. So he needs to be prepared for anything that could possibly come his way.
Sherry, can you maybe think about a lesson that you learned over the last number of years that you could maybe pass on to Neil? Maybe an example of something that gave you an aha moment or anything like that said, well, Neil really needs to, I learned this and I think really, Neil needs to know this as well.
I think the biggest aha moment that I had is I was very fortunate to have spent 7 years down in South America, basically picking up everything I knew and taking and starting a ranch down there. And it's very similar to what Neil is prepared to try to do here. And again, it's the most important thing that I can say to him is to find a network of people that will be honest with him. It's important to find people that will give you the truth and not what you want to hear, because that's how you start to base your decision-making process. You need to know what the facts are. So it's who you know in that network of people that will allow you to really go, Neil's got the capability to do anything he wants to do, but he's going to need the support. It's finding the right people.
What would you recommend that he does in the industry over the next year? What kind of industry participation should he consider?
Industry participation is important because it allows you to get out and hear what other folks are up to as well. The provincial beef producer associations, stock grower associations, if he's looking and focusing on livestock as being the principal area, are key to that. There's plenty of meetings, as well as a number of seminars that are coming up. We have the International Livestock Congress, which is a very good international perspective of what's happening in the beef industry, which is important to keep a track of, but as well as the CanFax organization and their weekly reports, as well as their annual convention as well. Those are the important things to be able to network with people and get the correct information when and how you need it. With regards to Neil being involved with community and association and actually agricultural politics, if you want to call it that, I encourage him to step up and to be a part of as much as he can be, because what happens in our industry is so much of it is led by those of us that have been in it for a long, long time, and sometimes we get so bogged down in the day-to-day problems that we forget to see some of the simple solutions that young people have the ability to bring. And so I want to make sure that he knows that he has a place in being able to take an active role in a lot of these association groups, because they need fresh ideas. They need new ideas that these young kids are learning and bringing with them with the new education that they're getting.
Lifelong learning does not have to be confined to academic coursework. There are a tremendous amount of skills that can be acquired from practical learning. Leadership development skills are arguably best learned by doing. The Cattlemen's Young Leaders program was developed with that in mind. Jill Harvie from the Canadian Cattlemen's Association joined us to talk about the program.
So the CWOW program was launched with an Alberta pilot in 2010. The idea stemmed from our Value Creation and Competitiveness Committee under the Canadian Cattlemen's Association. Directors felt that there was a need to have young people be brought to the table and given the opportunity to have some mentorship, whether that be in a career related to agriculture, specifically beef, or to have additional board experience, whether that be provincially or on a national level at the Canadian Cattlemen's Association. And so in 2010, as I said, we began the pilot with a small group of people, and then we launched in 2011 with 16 young people receiving 8-month mentorships, teaming them up with mentors in an area of interest to them. And since then, every year we've had 16 people participate. Every year we receive over 50 applicants from across the country of young people interested between the ages of 18 and 35 in receiving an experience of a lifetime, truly. Not only is it a mentorship experience where they're teamed up with 1 or 2 mentors in an area of interest, but also we have them attend events both domestically and internationally. And so some of those events are the Beef Value Chain Roundtable, where industry meets, and they are actually, we have 2 seats at the table there. We also have events such as the Five Nations Beef Alliance, which is an international forum that takes place every year. This year we're headed to Australia with a couple of our Cattlemen's Young Leaders, where we're going to meet with other like-minded young producers from Australia, New Zealand, Mexico, US, and of course ourselves, Canada, along with our leadership of the Canadian Cattlemen's Association. Some other neat things that we've done is some bilateral meetings with the United States and their NCBA, the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. The Young Producers Council have met with our young people at a variety of events, such as their convention in Florida this last January, and also we had a great meeting at the Canadian Embassy in Denver during the International Livestock Congress and the National Western Stock Show. And so a variety of other events that we have our Cattlemen's Young Leaders take part in when they're in their mentorship is a spring and a fall forum. The spring forum this year we tied to the Canadian Cattlemen's Association annual general meeting, so they had a chance to meet with some of their own MPs and other MPs, as well as do a little bit of learning through all of the committee meetings, and that's also when we did our selections for this next year. So we had taken 24 young people to Ottawa, and 16 are receiving mentorships this year. We also had our graduates come to that event and receive their certificates. I was excited to talk to Neil. Once again, it sounds like someone who would be a fantastic fit for the program. Neil has a background where he's really wanting to gain additional knowledge to get his business up and running. And so what we can provide for him is a learning opportunity where he can meet other young people who have been in the CWAL program in the past or will be in the future, who have potentially gone through many of the same things that he has. We also provide training and succession, as well as business development and farm planning. And so I think that he would gain a lot from just the peer interaction. In addition, we would also provide him with a mentor who would be able to give him some additional guidance. Luckily, Neil has taken initiative and already has somewhat of an informal mentorship with Sherry, which I think is absolutely fantastic. I hope that he includes that in his application when he applies next year, or this year rather, and that we can kind of take it to the next level for him. He's learning a lot more about maybe the more hands-on management practices at this point in time. But what I see is that he's also interested in looking at what other business opportunities or opportunities and challenges lie in maybe moving his operation. And being that he doesn't have a farm being in the family, he does have somewhat of a unique situation, and that we have seen quite a few candidates in the Cattlemen's Young Leaders program over the last few years. This is exciting. This means that we have young people who are going to school. Of course, Neil went to Olds College and took the applied degree there, and in agriculture, and wants to continue and make his career in the beef industry. And we're seeing more and more of this. Of course, we know there are many opportunities that lie ahead for producers in Canada to produce beef. Of course, in the West, where Neil is planning to have his ranch, there's quite a bit of land available. Some of the issues that lie is the cost of that. So he might have to look at renting or teaming up with someone who might be exiting the industry in the next few years. And I can almost guarantee that there's so many ranchers who maybe are looking at retirement, but they certainly want to ensure that they keep some young people in this industry and encourage them to really take things on. So he could look at that option as well.
When we come back, we'll look at the final business planning items and advice for Neil.